is there like a B plus and A comedy also that we didn't qualify for, or is this sort of just the general name of the site? I mean,
And then what percentage of people you interview ask that question?
ask that exact question at the
I would say usually I get the C++ question about coding. The only people that say the B plus and A plus, they're mean people, the people that bully me online, and they really come for me. So thank you for adding to that pool of people. I appreciate it.
I was not bullying you. I was truly bullying myself and thinking that there's no way that we would have qualified for the A plus one, and that you reserve that title for other shows.
You have tiers of quality that you interview, and
in my mind, you operate all the different sites. It's just you choose which interviews go on which level of grading scale. That's all I was saying. So I was bullying myself. Please, just to be clear.
No. It's completely fine. I'm used to it. People just they make fun of the shows I watch. They make fun of the people I talk to. So you're just piling on, and you're making me a better person in the future.
By the way, I mean, you're just telling me that they're just going to make fun of the shows you watch and the people you interview. I mean, that is our show and us. So I think we're the ones who are in trouble.
We're all in this together, my friend.
Yeah, we're on the same team here.
Well,
thank you for sitting down. We so appreciate it. We're excited to talk about the show.
No, this is fantastic because I'm a fan of all of your works individually, both as I know the Libman brothers as teams, and then David as yourself. I gotta tell you, I own Happy Endings on 4 different formats.
No.
Blu-ray, DVD, digitally on iTunes and on Google Play.
Is one of those a PlayStation game?
Thank you.
Yes, very limited prototype game.
Yeah. 3. I love it. It's like I've spent so much money on that show alone, and then for you guys, Daniel and Matthew, it's How I Met Your Father is just a great follow up to the original show, and I can see especially with Mr. Throwback, because I watched 3 episodes today. I got to the birthday party to where after Steph brings out at the end of that episode, the 3rd episode, where he brings out that, hey, this is what's happening to the daughter, and now everybody in the world essentially knows. I mean, it's a fantastic show. It's very funny, and I would say out of all of the work you guys have done, it is the most sincere. As funny as it is, it's the most sincere, and there's less jokes at the expense of having that more sincerity. There's less jokes, and I think it really works.
Wow, that's so nice to hear. Yeah, we have grown up since those DVDs you've held. Those DVDs are 15 years old or 10 years old or something. Yeah. So we definitely care. We really wanted to get into more character and heart and relationships and real people. So
I also think that just because of the volume of jokes on Happy Endings, like I think we ran out. I think we thought of all the jokes we ever could write.
We really did
on that show. So we're like, well, let's be a little more sincere and heartfelt and character driven, and it was by necessity.
Yeah. How did you all decide to continue working together for a show on Peacock?
Well, the 3 of us work together on almost everything, and have known each other for 40 years. So we're we tend to always look for a reason to work together. And then as far as Peacock, we will work for anyone who is willing to let us make a television show, just to be clear. But
anyone out there is listening, we will do it. Just say the word. We'll come up with something.
But Peacock was really excited about the show, and we love so many shows on Peacock and NBC, of course, and it just felt like a perfect home for it. Stefan also is under a deal there, and just felt like a perfect home, and they've been so supportive and incredible in helping us make this show and believing in it. And it's not the most obvious choice of a television show to pair like a bunch of comedians with a Hall of Fame basketball player, but they really believed in it from the beginning and supported it like a lot. And they were just kind of the best home for it.
Yeah, I think when I was watching it, it does have aspects of other shows. Obviously, everything is an iteration of everything, but as similar as it is, to shows like The Office or Parks and Rec, or even just regular multicam sitcoms. I think that it is something that is unlike what is on television right now, and it works, and it's fascinating to see, to have Tien as the director chiming in every so often, and then to have Ego not be an object of desire and just really be a working woman, and to see, I think, Pally to just play this straight man that I think we saw glimpses of in Champaign, Illinois, but it's really standing out here where you don't feel bad for him. You see where he's coming from, and the acting and the writing, I think, pairs well, especially with David Wayne's direction.
Thank you.
Thank you
That's
so much.
great.
That is
so
really
sweet.
so kind.
Probably
Thank you.
one of the
Put
best
that
summaries.
put that in an article and put it on the internet for
That's
us, will
exactly
you?
what we
Send that
intended.
to
We
the
literally-
Smithsonian, sir.
basically just
no,
read off
I-
it,
look,
and that's what we
I-
did.
I think we were, I know we were very, very fortunate with this cast to cast people in every role that elevated the material and brought so much of their own style and humanity and point of view to each role. So, whatever was on the page originally that, we had come up with our writers, like, these folks elevated to such new and unexpected heights. And I think what you see is the result of a really, fruitful collaboration between all of us.
Yeah, it's interesting, Chad, that you pointed out like that it feels like more sincere and real. Or, we wrote, of course, like a bunch of sort of happy ending style jokes, that were in a lot of the scripts and stuff, and then we would just kind of get to set and start shooting them, and get in the edit room and start looking at them. And we inevitably those were the ones that kind of we fell out of the cut because everything else was being played so real and funny by the cast that some of those jokes, which obviously we love jokes, they feel, they're very written. Like no one is going to actually come up and like just start talking like some of those, kind of twisting, turning jokes. And so like we were falling in love so much with everyone's performance on the realer, more sincere stuff that those started to feel like outliers. And so we began kind of pulling them out of the scripts and out of the cuts and stuff like that. So
Wow.
it's nice to hear that it worked.
Yeah.
Which is all to say we'll have a hell of a blooper reel.
Oh God, I hope so. I hope so. What also interests me is that the other basketball entities that have starred in things like LeBron James in Trainwreck. I guess he had the third bill on that. Considering it's great to see how you can get Stefan to really kind of play like I don't know if that's a real version of himself, but he feels like a dork and it feels very funny. And I like that and very natural. And then for like LeBron to do the same thing versus who was the progenitor of all that? It was Michael Jordan, who played kind of a stiff turd, a douchebag of sorts in Space Jam, the original. And I'll say that to his face.
Okay.
I'll say it to his face. I'm not afraid of him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How did you guys?
That makes one of us.
Yeah.
How did you all pull that out of Steph and really just make sure that he played a good version of himself on camera?
Honestly, that really was just him. Like he is so warm and open and generous and thoughtful and prepared. I mean, it was, there definitely was a lot of thought that went into like what is the behind the scenes version of a celebrity. I feel like you've seen like sort of every version of that. You've seen like the nice guy who then like behind the scenes is like a dick or whatever. Like to us, he's so out there in the public space as being, so charitable and generous with his time and like donates to, volunteers at kids stuff. And so it felt the most realistic to just kind of do a slightly exaggerated version of like who he really is, which is just like, truly, it's like, he's just a great guy. He really is.
He's also a very kind of silly and fun-loving guy. So to bring that sort of to the forefront of his character felt like it would be the most, the most fun to watch.
Is there pressure to ever make this show feel prescient, like to feel of the moment, or because it's about basketball, it's taking place during a basketball season, and he gets the yips, and we have to deal with that, and was that ever something that you all discussed in the writers' room, or was that just something that was going to live in the background, and the story of a family trying to escape this lie that they've told
Mhm.
was the thing, that the main goal.
Well, anything that was sort of ripped from the headline, so to speak, was actually a happy accident and the result of our sort of breakneck production schedule. So that sort of was, we'd always written towards, the going to the Olympics as the possible end of the season. And just the fact that we ended up with this production schedule, it made us sort of look like geniuses, but or like we knew what we were doing, but
Yeah.
it just ended up happening really quickly. And but yes, of course, I think at the at the heart of it is the family story, and the story with with Pally and his family and his friendship with Stefan and with Ego. And
Yeah, I mean, typically we try to
yeah.
lean into stuff that's not tied to anything timing wise, that does feel more evergreen, that, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, people can watch this and it doesn't feel like it's of such a specific moment, like the emotional stuff with the family and, those sort of like emotional and intrapersonal relationship issues. Those things kind of can live on at any time. So those are the things we probably spent more time talking about and thinking about.
Yeah. Now, are you guys all basketball fans, NBA fans, and was it tough to have to listen to Golden Warriors, talk all the time, or were you able to try to fit in what your teams were and talk back to Steph and make sure
Oh,
that he understands that he's not the only basketball player out there?
Would never consider it. The answer, yes, we're huge basketball fans, but we're also huge Stephen Curry fans and
Yeah, yeah.
huge Golden State Warriors fans. So it was actually a pleasure.
we're also from Chicago, so there's like not a ton of smack to talk at the moment, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say it. I did actually grow up in San Francisco the first 8 years of my life, and then Chicago the next however many. So I can say that the Warriors were always my second favorite team behind the Bulls, but now having done this show, I mean, I don't want to break any news here on your show, but I do feel like, how do you not root for Stephen Curry, who we've worked with and love now, to a point that, frankly, if it's Stephen versus the Bulls, I think I'm rooting for Stephen, guys. I
Yeah.
hate to say it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
I don't have
disagree.
any other people that I could call like an actual friend of mine on any of the teams, so I think I would always root for my friends over
Also, like
anyone
unless
else,
and
right?
until any of the Bulls come and do the show,
Mhm.
we're team staff.
Yeah.
Who would you want on the show from the Bulls?
Currently,
Yeah.
nobody. I don't even want the Bulls. I don't even want the guys from the Bulls to be on the Bulls.
I'm a
Tough.
Mavericks fan, so I'm waiting for Luca to pop up.
Oh shit.
Truly, anybody.
Anytime.
Anyway, we'd put Luca on here in a heartbeat, man. That'd be amazing. No, we're huge. We used to go to all those Bulls games in the '90s because we are old during that championship run, and such a blast. Some of the best memories of our life. So to get to like do a show with like the current day Michael Jordan
Yeah.
is incredible. But no, we want to get everyone on there. We were thrilled to have. I think you saw it, that little inside the NBA TNT thing in the pilot.
Yes.
That was stuff that we wrote and sent to Barkley and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie, and those are guys we grew up
Steve Kerr
watching.
was nice enough to
Yeah.
come on the show, and he was on that Bulls championship team. Like,
Yeah.
it was a thrill for us.
Yeah.
I have a picture of myself high-fiving Steve Kerr as he walks off the floor after winning a championship in like '98, probably. And I got him to recreate the photo with me when he came to set today of me high-fiving him now. It's so cool.
David and I were in the building when he hit a game-winning shot to give the Bulls the championship in '97.
Wow.
It was sadly probably one of the better days of my life.
No, that's awesome. The only thing I can relate to that is I used to work at Warner Brothers here in Atlanta, so I've been in the same studio as Shaq and the guys at TNT.
So cool.
That's
So
awesome.
cool.
I love
I
that.
love those guys.
Yeah.
I like how Barkley was like, I'm done after the season. I'm retired. And then I feel like it was like less than a week and a half later, the articles came up that were like, well, for the right situation and the right price, he's back, which is great.
Yeah, Yeah.
I love that show.
That's fantastic. I have one more question, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. This is for Daniel and Matthew, because I could talk about happy endings for years and years and years to come.
Yes,
Bring me on the podcast. But who was
Do
the
it,
father
come.
and How I Met Your Father?
undecided.
Oh.
I
Truly
wasn't
undecided.
paying attention. I'm sorry. I was.
I was paying attention, and they hadn't. It truly, 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 truly. The answer is it had not been. They had not decided.
Okay.
They could have gone a million ways. I was pitching me. They did.
Talking
Yeah.
about breaking the fourth wall. So you wanted the reveal to be that it was one of the
The
writers
camera
on the
turns
show.
Himself.
around, walks
Yes, the
off
cam-
the
Yeah.
stage on Paramount,
Yes. Yes.
across
Okay.
the
The camera
street
turns around
into the
yeah,
writer's room,
yes,
and then I'm
where
just
a
like,
guy is
"Oh?"
sleeping, where a
where
man is sleeping with
truly
food on
not
his
ready
on
for
his chest.
television guy, a guy who
Playing
literally
guitar in
has
his
a-
office.
has a face for radio. Yes. Eating takeout. And they're like,
Yeah.
he's the father? That would have been incredible.
That would have
Guys,
been truly incredible
that would have been amazing.
The best ending to any TV show ever.
It really
of all
would have been.
time. Of all-
Thank you. That's what I
Undisputed.
said. That's what I
Undisputed.
said. I agree.
We love Atlanta, by the way, man. We that's where we shot Champagne Ale.
Yeah, I know. It was it's crazy
The
just
best.
like seeing backgrounds that I know specifically and going, "Oh, I know that neighborhood. I've been past there. I've driven past there." It's so fun. You guys
Yes.
do great work, and I'm jealous that not a lot of people get to see it.
Oh.
Well, we're sad that not a lot of people get to see it. Maybe people will watch this one. I mean, it's being
I-
advertised
Yeah.
during the Olympics.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. This is the one.
Maybe
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'll be rooting for you all for the rest of time. Again.
Oh, you're
thank
so
you.
you're
nice
so
of you.
nice.
Come on,
Thank
I
you,
supported you 4 times over. I got
I know. Look at
That's
this.
you,
crazy.
Chad.
Chad,
I
Thank
can't
you
believe you
so much,
had
Chad.
I can't believe you had an Xbox 360 game made of that's so crazy.
Yeah, Dave's
thank you
the
so
Dave food
much.
truck levels are wild.
These
Amazing.
are the two guys that came up with the name of that food truck right here.
Daniel did. Daniel came up with it.
Come on.
Take me home tonight.
That
That
was
was
a team
yep.
effort. It was a team effort of one. All right, Chad. Thank you
All right.
so much,
Thanks,
man.
thanks again.
Appreciate it, bud.
Have a
Thank
Thanks
good
for
day.
taking the time.
Thanks,
Tell
Chad.
people to watch, please. Please
Will do.
make people watch. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.